The NFL adds male cheerleaders. Trump goes after John Bolton and 55 million foreigners with visas. And the most important story of the week, the Cracker Barrel redesign. That and more on this week's America Uncovered headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. And I just want to say you guys are beautiful. Engagement has exploded ever since I asked you to leave a comment with the American flag emoji. I'm talking a couple of hundred comments an episode to thousands. That's a huge help with the algorithm. So keep going. And while you're down there, be sure to subscribe, because YouTube has probably secretly unsubscribed you. Well, the Trump administration is at it again. At what, you ask? Where do I start? First, there are the U.S. destroyers heading towards the waters off Venezuela. Supposedly, these are there to help counter the drug cartels and gangs that Trump designated as terrorists in February, such as Tren de Aragua and MS-13. But let's not forget that Trump is offering a reward of $50 million for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan quote-unquote President Nicolas Maduro, whom Trump has accused of being one of the world's largest narco-traffickers. So some people are seeing this as a move against Maduro, including Maduro, who has mobilized Venezuela's militia. Also, unsurprisingly, China is siding with Maduro, warning against quote-unquote foreign interference. So are we watching World War III unfold? Probably not, but it may be time to get the Tim Pool drinking game ready nonetheless. Meanwhile, Kash Patel's FBI has raided John Bolton's home in a high-profile national security probe. John Bolton was a security advisor to President Trump during his first term, but the two had a falling out. And Bolton has spoken up against Trump's policies many times since, appearing as a frequent commenter on CNN and MSNBC. He even wrote a book about it called The Room Where It Happened, which allegedly disclosed national secrets. And that leads us to where we are now. So is this Trump going after his personal political enemies or a warranted investigation? Well, as always, it depends on whom you ask. But it's not just Bolton the Trump administration is going after. They're also targeting all 55 million foreigners with U.S. visas looking for violations. Now, some people are freaking out about the idea that there are 55 million legal immigrants in the U.S. Add to that what Pew Research Center estimates as 14 million illegal immigrants, and you've got quite a sizable portion of the U.S. population that isn't even American. But that's not quite right. The 55 million refer to the total number of foreigners in the world who have valid U.S. visas, not people living in the U.S. For example, in 2024, 11 million visas were issued, and 77% were for business or tourism, while roughly 7% were issued to students or visiting academics and their families. So at least some of these people aren't in the U.S. The State Department said it's going to look for people staying past the authorized time frame outlined in a visa, criminal activity, threats to public safety, engaging in any form of terrorist activity, or providing support to a terrorist organization. And don't forget, criticism of Israel can lead to visa revocations. Wow, all this politicking is exhausting. Let's take a break and just enjoy some entertainment, like the NFL, so we can think about culture wars instead. The hot new culture war that's come to the NFL is male cheerleaders. Male cheerleaders are great athletes whose strength makes them incredible bases for female cheerleaders to pull off unbelievable acrobatic feats. But this isn't exactly what we're seeing in the NFL. These short shorts bring a whole new meaning to sack on the field. I guess this is the NFL version of throwing dildos on the court of the WNBA. I'm honestly jealous of NFL players, because I too now wish I could get a traumatic brain injury and lose all memory of this. Speaking of things I wish I could forget, Cracker Barrel changing its logo. They've also removed the rustic feel of the establishment and made it more, modern, I guess? That's the word they use when something is completely soulless, right? The world you were born into no longer exists. The branding change has been received poorly. Cracker Barrel lost almost $200 million in value as their stocks plunged after the new logo release. But it seems this is a result of social media outrage rather than the rebranding itself, because it started over a year ago and Cracker Barrel stock is up 21% since. If you ask me, I don't think the rebranding is the problem. For me, the problem was going into a Cracker Barrel and all the Americana schlock they were selling was all made in China. That seems, to me, a little more anti-American. Denmark is attempting to tackle deepfakes by giving people copyrights to their face and voice, which will allow people to sue the creators of deepfakes that feature them. Meanwhile, here in America, our personal information is being used to train generative AI models. xAI is publishing hundreds of thousands of Grok chatbot conversations without the user's knowledge or consent, and YouTube will soon be using AI to guess your age. And if it's wrong, you'll have to prove you're over 18. But don't worry, it's not like YouTube would do anything nefarious with your private information, like make it available to their advertisers. They just want to protect the children. White poet Aaron Barry pretended to be black in order to get his work published. This sounds like a reboot of Soul Man. If you don't get the reference, YouTube has the trailer, and I hope YouTube AI thinks you're older than 18. Barry, who you can see from this picture is whiter than raisins in potato salad, took on a plethora of pseudonyms posing as members of disenfranchised groups. For example, Adele Nwakwo, a non-binary, queer, gender-fluid member of the Nigerian diaspora who wrote poems about pro wrestling. Yes, pro wrestling. Talk about slam poetry. If that sounds horrible, it's by design. Not only did Barry take on these pseudonyms, but he also intentionally made terrible poems to see if any would actually get published. The results? All 47 of them got published by indie literary magazines. Barry isn't the first person to do this type of prank to expose publishers' bias. Poet Michael Derrick Hudson, who's whiter than Crocs in a Dave Matthews cover band, had his poem, The Bees, the Flowers, Jesus, Ancient Tigers, Poseidon, Adam and Eve, rejected over 40 times. But then he got it published and even included in 2015's Best American Poetry Anthology using the name E. Fun Cho, who was an old classmate of Hudson's. Many were obviously upset at these ruses, but it does expose an issue where someone's identity is being favored over the quality of their work. And there's a name for that, though I can't remember quite what that is. Guess I'm no poet. The Obama Presidential Center, located in Chicago, is expected to open in 2026, and local residents are thrilled to have it.
Here you've got this big monstrosity. It's over budget, it took way too long to build, and it's ugly.
Ugly? What are you talking about? This nearly windowless tower that looks like something out of the dystopian Judge Dredd future is way nicer than the natural landscapes in the park it's covering up. Okay, fine, maybe it's not the most aesthetically pleasing. And maybe it's behind schedule. And maybe it's $500 million over budget. And maybe a black-owned construction company that worked on it is suing for racial discrimination. But at least, I'll be honest, I'm struggling to find a positive here. Oh, I know. At least this center will help bring business to the locals and help their economy. What's that, Shelley? It turns out local residents are worried that luxury developments tied to the center could lead to them being priced out of their homes and displaced. So it's ugly and causing gentrification. This might be the most tragic bomb linked to Obama that didn't involve a wedding in Yemen. And before you go, be sure to check out this other episode of America Uncovered recommended by the algorithm, the most powerful, mysterious, unknowable entity that controls our every predetermined action that doesn't have its own church. Yet. And as always, support America Uncovered, screw YouTube, by subscribing to our new website, americauncovered.tv. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching America Uncovered.